First of all, take a flick. Take a flick. Come on, take a flick.
Yeah, I got Bel Air and Casa as a whole.
Half a body discovered in the dense woods of Sam Houston National Forest. A bloodied cell phone abandoned near a community park. A digital trail of disturbing searches, including how to be a serial killer. These weren't elements from a fictional horror story, but the grim reality surrounding 24-year-old Felicia Johnson's murder. On February 7, 2023, nearly a year after her disappearance, a Texas Department of Transportation worker made the horrific discovery that confirmed what Felicia's family had feared most. The remains found scattered in the forest belonged to the young woman who had traveled to Houston seeking opportunity, only to encounter a predator who had methodically planned her demise. The $500 she was promised for a meeting arranged through Snapchat would be the last transaction of her life. A life cut short by someone who had researched how to get away with murder, yet left behind a trail of evidence that would eventually expose his actions. Felicia Johnson was a vibrant young woman from San Diego, California, with dreams that extended far beyond her circumstances. Described by loved ones as beautiful and ambitious, she aspired to build a career in hairstyling, makeup artistry, and modeling. Her father, Kevin Johnson, spoke of her with the pride and devotion that defined their close relationship. At 24, Felicia was at a crossroads, seeking opportunities that would help her achieve financial independence and pursue her creative passions. This search for a better future led her to Houston, Texas in April 2022, a journey that would tragically become her last. If you've ever wondered how quickly life can change from ordinary to catastrophic, stay with me throughout this entire video. What happened to Felicia could happen to anyone. Hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications, because understanding this case might just save a life someday, possibly even your own. The timeline of Felicia Johnson's final days reveals a calculated sequence of events that began with a simple online interaction and ended in unthinkable violence. On April 15, 2022, Felicia communicated with her family for the last time. No one could have predicted that within 24 hours, her disappearance would trigger a missing persons investigation that would eventually expose the dark underbelly of online arrangements. What we know now is that Felicia had applied for work at a local exotic dancing venue in Houston. When that opportunity didn't materialize immediately, she allegedly placed an online advertisement that caught the attention of 28-year-old Chukwuebuka Nwobodo. Their initial contact through Snapchat seemed routine, an agreement for a $500 meeting. But beneath this seemingly straightforward transaction lay something far more calculated. Surveillance footage would later capture Felicia entering an Uber ordered by Nwobodo on April 16th. She was taken first to his former address on Winchase Boulevard before being transported to his apartment on South Richmond Avenue. By 5:12 in the morning, her phone connected to a cell tower near Bear Creek Park, the same location where her bloodied phone would later be discovered. This digital breadcrumb marked the beginning of a case that would take investigators nearly a year to piece together, culminating in a forest discovery that confirmed their worst fears. Born and raised in San Diego, California, Felicia Johnson grew up surrounded by a tight-knit family who supported her dreams. Those who knew her described a young woman with an infectious smile and determined spirit. By her early 20s, Felicia had developed a passion for beauty and self-expression, channeling her creativity into hairstyling and makeup artistry. She often practiced on friends and family, showcasing her natural talent for transformation. Kevin Johnson, her father, recalled how Felicia would spend hours perfecting techniques she learned from online tutorials, determined to build skills that could translate into a sustainable career. She envisioned herself working with models, perhaps even becoming one herself. Financial independence was more than a goal. It represented freedom to pursue her artistic vision without compromise. This ambition burned within her, fueling decisions that would ultimately place her in the path of danger thousands of miles from home. In April 2022, Felicia made the fateful decision to travel from California to Texas. Houston represented possibility, a fresh market where her skills might be valued and her dreams realized more quickly than in competitive San Diego. The exact circumstances that prompted this cross-country journey remain somewhat unclear, But what is known is that economic opportunity was her primary motivation. Upon arriving in Houston, Felicia applied for a position at a local exotic dancing venue. This wasn't necessarily her dream job, but it offered the potential for substantial income that could fund her true passions. When the immediate employment she hoped for didn't materialize, Felicia found herself in an unfamiliar city with dwindling resources. The pressure to make her trip worthwhile mounted with each passing day. Like many young people facing financial uncertainty, she began exploring alternative options to generate income quickly, leading her to place advertisements online for private meetings. The digital footprints left behind reveal that Felicia and Chukwuebuka Nwobodo first connected through Snapchat, a platform known for its disappearing messages. Court documents would later show that their initial exchanges appeared transactional and straightforward. Nwobodo, a 28-year-old Houston resident and Lamar Consolidated ISD graduate, responded to an advertisement Felicia had posted. What Felicia couldn't have known during these seemingly routine messages was that the man on the other end of the conversation had been conducting disturbing internet searches. His digital history would later reveal queries for how to be a serial killer and how does one plan a murder without getting caught. While Felicia was likely focused on the financial opportunity this interaction presented.
Felicia Johnson. Today they searched an area of interest at Bear Creek Pioneers Park, which is right around the location where Johnson's family says her phone was found.
Well, it's been 5 days since Johnson was last seen leaving a nightclub on West Little York in Northwest Houston. ABC 13 reporter Roxy Bustamante joins us live with what we've learned about her disappearance. Roxy.
So the Cover Girls nightclub right here behind me was the last place where Felicia Johnson was last seen. Now, Houston police tell us that detectives returned back here to this area, and her father is hoping that the surveillance video from inside the building will reveal who left with his daughter. Where is Felicia Johnson?
I can't put it into words. I'm trying to hold myself together and not just break down, and I don't know where my baby is or what's being done to her.
Kevin Johnson says his daughter Felicia was at the Cover Girls nightclub off of West Little York on Friday, April 15th. He says she was trying to apply for a job but was turned away.
She called the Uber. Uber was taking too long to really get here. So a gentleman here at the club offered to give her a ride to where she needed to go. Felicia has not been seen since. No cell phone activity, no credit card activity, no social media activity. She has absolutely just vanished off the face of the earth.
A team with Texas EquiSearch was searching in an area of interest near the park off of Eldridge Parkway.
We know that she's a victim of foul play. We need help in finding her.
Johnson's family fearing the worst. Her father sharing this message in hopes that Felicia Johnson is still somewhere alive.
It's a tragedy that you've been caught up in this net of whatever they got going on out here. But we working very, very hard to get you back. And I love you. Everybody in the family love you. And I just wanted to let you know, just stay strong and we're coming for you.
Nwobodo was potentially viewing their communication through a much darker lens, as an opportunity to act on violent impulses that had been forming in his mind. The $500 offer must have seemed like a lifeline to Felicia, enough money to extend her stay in Houston or perhaps even fund her return to California if opportunities didn't pan out. According to investigators, Nwobodo agreed to this amount for an in-person meeting, creating the impression of a straightforward business arrangement. For Felicia, this likely represented nothing more than a chance to earn needed income. They arranged to meet at the Intercontinental Hotel in Houston's Medical Center area on April 16th. Felicia may have chosen this public location as a safety precaution, a busy, reputable establishment where she might feel secure meeting a stranger. What she couldn't anticipate was that Nwobodo had already set his plan in motion, ordering an Uber that would take her not just to their meeting point, but ultimately away from safety and toward his apartment where evidence suggests he had prepared for violence. The digital agreement to meet would be the final decision Felicia would make of her own free will.
Covered some new information in the murder of Felicia Johnson.
Nearly 2 months since she was last seen, her remains still have not been found. Now new court documents show how investigators linked a suspect to her murder.
Good morning, Erica and Jeff. We're live here from where Felicia Johnson was last seen alive. It's the outcome that no one wanted, and the gruesome details in the new charging documents accuse the suspect of doing extensive research to try and cover up her murder. Friends and family last heard from Johnson back on April 15. According to Uber records, investigators subpoenaed about a week later. They say the suspect, Chuabuka Wobodo, was the one who requested the ride for Johnson from her hotel to his apartment. Police say records show that on the 16th and 17th, he bought a number of supplies from Walmart and Home Depot, including a flashlight, shirt, gloves, saws, trash bags, and towels. Later that day on the 16th, a family friend found Johnson's phone at Bear Creek Park covered in blood. On May 13th, HPD conducted a search warrant where they say they found blood, weapons, receipts, and supplies in the suspect's car, as well as Johnson's DNA and blood in his apartment. Here's an excerpt from a news conference last week held by activist Quanell X and others who have been looking for Johnson.
We want the suspect to know that the no snitch policy will never protect you in our community, that we're coming for you, we're looking for you, and we'll leave no stone unturned in trying to find out your whereabouts.
Investigators say that Wobodo's search internet history came up with phrases like how to get away with murder and does blood or does bleach destroy DNA. Right now, police are still looking for Wobodo, and they have not located Johnson's remains.
He was nowhere to be found after this and was not yet officially charged, but luck for the police, he was taken into custody during a traffic stop, but Wobodo was not charged after the traffic stop, so he was released, but a cell phone in his front pocket was seized. Court documents said the cell phone contained a photograph of a dismembered female in addition to 3 photos of deceased individuals. The individuals in the photos were not identified and no metadata was associated with them. He was officially charged for the murder of Felicia Johnson after they felt they had sufficient evidence.
Newly released documents are revealing shocking and gruesome details about the murder and disappearance of 24-year-old Felicia Johnson. She vanished in April. Fox 26's Gabby Hart is live tonight with news that police say the suspect's Google search history is being used as evidence against him. Gabby.
Yeah, Tom, charging documents reveal that after Felicia Johnson's disappearance, the suspect Googled things like how to be a serial killer and how to get away with murder. Police also say that they found photos in his cell phone that showed the body of a dismembered woman along with other dead bodies.
New documents are providing insight into the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of 24-year-old Felicia Johnson. Johnson came to Houston from San Diego and attempted to get a job at a local strip club. We're now learning that she allegedly met 28-year-old Chuabuka Wobodo. The pair agreed to meet for $500. The suspect sent an Uber for Johnson to the Intercontinental Hotel around 3 a.m. April 16th. That Uber took her to the suspect's old address on Windchase Boulevard. Police say the suspect picked her up from that location and took her to his new residence on Richmond Avenue. On Thursday, police saying they found evidence that leads them to believe she was murdered. That evidence revealed in these documents. On April 17th, the suspect purchased a saw, towels, large trash bags, and a trail flashlight. When officers searched his vehicle, they found a gun, latex gloves, a large kitchen knife, and a shovel. They also found Felicia's blood in his trunk and back seat, as well as blood stains throughout his apartment. After Felicia's disappearance, the suspect allegedly Googled things like what does bleach do to blood, how to be a serial killer, and how does one plan a murder without getting caught. On April 30th, nearly 2 weeks after Felicia's disappearance, the suspect's Google search revealed he was still looking for Houston escorts. The investigating detective saying, quote, "I believe Felicia is deceased and was likely dismembered." On May 13th, nearly 1 month after Johnson's disappearance, police arrested Wobodo. At which point they went through his phone, where they say they found a photo of a dismembered woman and 3 other photos of dead bodies. We also learned that the suspect was previously investigated for attempted sexual assault. The victim chose not to press charges.
Now, right now, it's not clear why the suspect was arrested and then released from custody. We do know, though, that tonight that suspect is on the run, wanted on charges of murder and tampering with evidence. Felicia Johnson's body still hasn't been.
Father believes the remains of his daughter, who went missing nearly a year ago, may have been found.
And today, investigators tell us they were back out at a site in Montgomery County where remains were found earlier this week. Grace White joins us now with what she's learned. Grace?
Those remains in Montgomery County have still not officially been identified. The justice of the peace there told us tonight he was on scene Tuesday when skeletal remains were found, along with a trash bag that's now been collected as evidence.
Pieces of crime scene tape can still be seen not far from Katie Francis's house.
It's kind of creepy.
She lives at the edge of the Sam Houston National Forest.
Sometimes there's garbage bags where people dump stuff like that out, but oh gosh, it's probably been 30, 40 years since we heard of them finding anybody else up there.
But Tuesday afternoon, they may have found someone. From Drone 11, you can see the path off Highway 149 near Flamingo Lakes, where the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says a TxDOT worker discovered human bone remains.
So, Grace, do we have any idea how long it will take to identify these remains that were found?
The justice of the peace told us tonight it could take some time, but they are working on this as fast as they can.
Human remains found in Montgomery County earlier this month have been confirmed as those of Felicia Johnson.
She's the 24-year-old San Diego woman who disappeared while visiting Houston in April of last year, and investigators are still looking for the man charged in her death.
Whenever they release her, then I will be able to have a service for her and pay her the respects that she needs.
Houston police have charged 28-year-old Chukwubuka Nobudu with her murder. He's on the run. His arrest warrant said they met on an escort website before she disappeared on April 16th of last year.
New calls being made tonight for the public's help in finding the man accused in the disappearance of Felicia Johnson.
We will not rest until you have been arrested. We want the suspect to know that we're going to look for you night and day, brother, until you are arrested. We want the suspect to know that the no snitch policy will never protect you in our community.
This initial arrest came after investigators had gathered substantial digital and physical evidence linking him to the crime. However, in a development that would frustrate both investigators and Felicia's family, Nwobodo was released without charges being filed. The decision to release him stemmed from prosecutors' concerns about building an airtight case, particularly without the recovery of Felicia's remains. This legal caution would have significant consequences, as Nwobodo disappeared shortly after his release. By the time murder charges were formally filed against him on June 9, 2022, he had already fled and remains at large to this day. Nearly 10 months after Felicia Johnson's disappearance, on February 7, 2023, the case took a definitive turn. A Texas Department of Transportation worker performing routine maintenance in a remote section of the Sam Houston National Forest noticed something unusual among the underbrush near Flamingo Lakes and Highway 149. What initially appeared to be scattered debris revealed itself, upon closer inspection, to be human remains. The worker immediately contacted the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, who responded to the scene around noon that day. Deputies quickly confirmed the worker's grim discovery. These were indeed human remains, and they appeared to have been there for a considerable time. The location was significant not just for what was found, but for how it aligned with Nwobodo's internet searches and cell phone movements in the days following Felicia's disappearance. The forest location he had researched had indeed become the final resting place for his alleged victim. The recovery scene in Sam Houston National Forest revealed the horrific extent of the crime. Felicia's remains were not found intact but partially dismembered and scattered across a small area of the dense woodland. The condition of the remains aligned with investigators' theories about Nwobodo's purchase of a mechanical saw and heavy-duty trash bags in the days following her disappearance. Among the remains, investigators discovered jewelry that would later be identified as belonging to Felicia, personal items that provided immediate circumstantial identification even before scientific confirmation. The remote location, difficult to access and rarely frequented by hikers, suggested the perpetrator had carefully selected this spot to minimize the chance of discovery. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office approached the identification process methodically. The remains were carefully transported to the medical examiner's office, where forensic anthropologists began the painstaking work of analysis. Given the condition and time elapsed since Felicia's disappearance, DNA testing would take time. investigators turned to dental records as a faster means of confirmation. Felicia's dental records were obtained from her providers in California and compared against the remains found in the forest. The comparison yielded a definitive match. On February 15, 2023, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office made the solemn announcement. It is with a heavy heart that we report dental records have confirmed that the human remains are that of missing person Felicia Johnson of California. This scientific confirmation transformed the case from a disappearance with presumed foul play to a confirmed homicide. The discovery provided crucial physical evidence connecting the crime to the location Nwobodo had researched, strengthening the case against him even as he remained at large. Kevin Johnson received the devastating confirmation with a mixture of grief and grim validation. After 10 months of searching, hoping, and advocating for his daughter, the discovery brought a terrible certainty, but also a form of closure. In an interview with ABC 13, following the identification, Kevin expressed his complex emotions. The reason why her body has been found is so that she can return to get justice for herself, he said. This is the first piece of the puzzle that is going to allow law enforcement to do their job.
Developments now in the disappearance and death of Felicia Johnson. Her accused killer has been charged but is still on the run. The 28-year-old man is accused of killing her inside his apartment and then dumping her body days later. Her remains have not been found, but items that belonged to her were discovered in Bear Creek Park. Our Rochelle Turner has much more on the situation. Rochelle?
Lauren, days after she was reported missing, her phone was found covered in blood at this park. Now the search is on for the suspect and where he dumped her body. Today we spoke to a mother at the apartment complex where police say the suspect lived.
That definitely puts fear in me.
Zena Brewington couldn't believe the news about Felicia Johnson. The 24-year-old disappeared in April, and Houston police say she was murdered. Brewington says she was living across from this man, 28-year-old Chukwuebuka Nwobodo, at the Link Apartments on South Richmond Avenue. Investigators say Nwobodo picked up Johnson from an apartment on Wind Chase Boulevard and took her to his apartment. Nwobodo is on the run and charged with murder and tampering with evidence in Felicia Johnson's disappearance.
It's definitely scary. I mean, it was scary, first off, just to see the SWAT team there.
Brewington says officers wearing camouflage armed with weapons showed up to the complex on May 13th.
I heard them trying to get him to come outside, nothing. And then I heard them actually force their way into the apartment.
Police say Nwobodo killed Johnson inside of his apartment before disposing her personal items at Bear Creek Park. Felicia's phone was found near the park, covered in blood, days after she got into a car with a man at the CoverGirls nightclub on West Little York Road. Since Felicia's disappearance, her father, Kevin, and community activists have searched and prayed for justice. The 24-year-old from California visiting Houston never made it back home. And we did ask Houston police about what the woman says happened on May 13th, but they told me they cannot answer any questions about the investigation. Right now, Crime Stoppers is still offering a $5,000 reward for information on this case. Reporting live from Bear Creek Park, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC 2 News.
Through media appearances across California and Texas, Kevin has shared Felicia's story to educate young women about predatory tactics used by individuals like Nwobodo. He regularly participates in community forums with law enforcement agencies, providing the family perspective that helps humanize missing persons cases. Kevin's persistent communication with Houston Police Department ensured Felicia's case remained active even before her remains were discovered. His advocacy extends beyond his daughter's case, as he now provides emotional support and practical guidance to other families navigating similar tragedies. Communities in both Houston and San Diego have rallied around Felicia's memory through prayer vigils, safety awareness events, and fundraisers, supporting the search for missing persons. Local businesses in Houston's medical center area implemented enhanced security measures following her disappearance. Online communities dedicated to true crime cases continue monitoring for Nwobodo sightings, creating a civilian network supplementing official manhunt efforts. A memorial garden dedicated to Felicia was established in her hometown of San Diego, providing a peaceful space for reflection and remembrance. annual scholarship awards in her name, support young women pursuing careers in beauty and creative arts. On the anniversary of her disappearance, social media campaigns using hashtag Justice for Felicia keep her story alive while authorities continue seeking her killer. Felicia Johnson's life ended tragically after accepting what seemed like a straightforward offer of $500. Her dismembered remains, discovered in Sam Houston National Forest nearly a year after her disappearance, confirmed the violent nature of her death. While substantial evidence points to Chukwuebuka Nwobodo as her killer, he remains at large, evading the justice Felicia deserves. Despite the evidence uncovered, questions linger. Was Felicia Nwobodo's first victim, or are there others who haven't been discovered? Did he act alone, or did accomplices assist him? How did he manage to disappear so completely after his initial release? And perhaps most importantly, where is he now? And is he still targeting vulnerable women? If this case moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe to explosive true crime stories. Your comments help others find this important content, potentially saving lives through awareness. Share this video with someone who might benefit from these safety lessons. Together, we can prevent similar tragedies while honoring Felicia's memory.